Absolute value inequalities are talking about the distance between this number and 0. So here they're saying the distance between x and 0 is less than 3. Okay, so I'm going to start at 0, and I'm going to go over 3. That's 3. But of course I could go the other direction too, so let me go that way. That would be 3 in that direction. Remember that distance is always positive, so I can go that way or that way, and it's still a positive distance. Okay, so let's look. The distance is less than 3. So less than 3 means closer than here and here. Well, 2 would be closer than 3, and 1 and 0, of course. Negative 1 is less than 3 away. So what I need to do, since this is strictly less than, I need to put an open circle. And I need to color on all of the numbers that would make that true, which would be all of them. Okay, over here we have the absolute value of x being greater than 2. So we can say that the distance between x and 0 has to be greater than 2. So 2. Oh no, I ran out of room. I can't draw. 2. Okay, strictly greater than, so I put open circles. The distance is greater. So that means the distance is further away. So I need numbers that are further away than this. Well, 3 is further away from 0. 4 is further away from 0. So actually all of these numbers satisfy that. But look, negative 3 is also farther away. So all of these numbers satisfy it. So if your inequality has a greater than, you're going to be coloring 2 branches. If your inequality is less than, it's that bit in the middle. Again, remember that distance is always going to be measured with a positive number. So if not, it's a trick. Don't be fooled. Go ahead and do this one yourself. Notice that it is greater than or equal to. How is that going to change your problem? Alrighty. Much like an absolute value equation, we're just going to isolate m, the absolute value of m, and then graph the inequality. So, subtract 1. The absolute value of m is greater than or equal to 2. Okay. Greater than or equal to means close circle, close circle. Greater than means further away from 0. So I've got this stuff that's further away from 0. That distance needs to be big. Okay. Next up, excuse me, I have 4 times the absolute value of q is less than 12. Divide by 4, divide by 4. So the absolute value of q is less than 3. All right, so starting at 0, I need to be over 3, strictly less than, so I'm not going to color in my circles. Less than means close. That distance needs to be small, so this is the small distance. Go ahead and do this one yourself. Oh, now we've got stuff inside the absolute value with our variables. So just like before, our strategy is to make and solve 2 inequalities instead of equations. So here's how it works. The stuff inside that absolute value, this inequality symbol, whatever it is, and then the number on the other side. Your second inequality is almost the same. It's the stuff that's inside the absolute value. Whatever this inequality symbol is, you flip it. So if it's less than, it turns into greater than. If it's greater than, it turns into less than. And then the negative of that number on the other side. So here I go. The stuff inside the absolute value, u plus 3, inequality symbol, so in this case less than or equal to, and that number. And then I also have to solve the stuff inside the absolute value, flip my inequality, and negative 2. Before I go any further, less than the distance is less than. So it's going to be within two boundaries. So when I solve this, I know that my graph is going to be within two boundaries. If it were greater than, I'd be coloring on the outsides. Let's see, u plus 3. I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. Subtract 3 from both sides. I get that u is less than or equal to negative 1. And u is greater than or equal to negative 5. Okay, so greater than or equal to, I'm going to color in the dot. Negative 5, I'm going to color in the dot at negative 1. It's got to be bigger than negative 5. It's got to be smaller than negative 1. And they meet in the middle. Oh wow, it's raining really hard all of a sudden. Cool. Alrighty, while I admire the rain, you can go ahead and do this one yourself. Last but not least, we're going to put it all together. So our strategy is, oh shoot, I should have been checking my answers really quickly. Let's check and make sure that one of these points that I colored is a solution. Let's try negative 3, it's right in the middle there. Negative 3 plus 3 is equal to 0. The absolute value of 0 is 0. 0 is indeed less than or equal to 2. Excellent, yay, okay. Moving on. Our strategy is you get the absolute value all alone. You make your two inequalities with the stuff inside the absolute value, your inequality symbol on the other, the number on the other side. The stuff inside the absolute value, you flip your inequality symbol and the negative number on the other side. You solve both those inequalities and you graph them. And then you pick a point in your inequality and just kind of test it in your original thing to make sure that you're not completely crazy. I recommend that you pause and attempt these and see if you get the same answer I do. Alright, so first thing I have to isolate this absolute value. I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. So the absolute value of j plus 1 is less than or equal to 2. Now I have to make my two inequalities. So j plus 1 is less than or equal to 2. And j plus 1, okay, for my second one I flip this and I make that negative. So greater than or equal to negative 2. So that means that j is less than or equal to 1, because I subtracted 1 from both sides, and j is greater than or equal to negative 3. Now before I start graphing, I'm going to look at this. The distance is less than 1. So we're going to be inside some points. Okay, so I've got 1, and it's or equal to, so I'm going to color it with a solid circle, and negative 3. Negative 3. Okay, less than 1. Here's my less than 1. Greater than negative 3. Oh look, they're heading towards each other. So it is inside these points, just like I predicted fabulously. Alrighty, let's do this. 2 times the absolute value of m minus 3 plus 4. I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. So 2 times the absolute value of m minus 3 is greater than negative 3. I'm going to divide both sides by 2. So the absolute value of m minus 3 is greater than negative 3 halves. Hey, wait a minute. Absolute values can't be negative. No solution. Okay, I'll see you guys in class.